Hey everybody, I'm Holly, aka the ScientoloGeek, and I want to welcome you all to Data Series video number 23. Today we're going to be covering more outpoints. Now we've already covered, I believe, 6 of them, including the base 5 from the first couple policy letters, as well as, I think the other one was, what was the other one? Wrong target, I think it was? Yeah, wrong target. So this one's going to be a shorter video. It's only a couple pages long. If you want access to any of this stuff, hit me up at scientologeek@gmail.com. That'll be in the description, as well as the link to my Discord server. You can hit me up with a valid Gmail address, so I can then invite you to the Google Drive folder. Without any further ado, let's get started. Now let's cover the HCO policy letter of the 26th of November, 1970, called More Outpoints.
While there could be many oddities classifiable as outpoints, those selected and named as such are major in importance, whereas others are minor. Wrong source. Wrong source is the other side of the coin of wrong target. Information taken from wrong source, orders taken from the wrong source, gifts or materials taken from wrong source all add up to eventual confusion and possible trouble. Unwittingly receiving from a wrong source can be very embarrassing or confusing, so much so that it's a favorite intelligence trick. Department D in East Germany, the Department of Disinformation, has very intricate methods of planting false information and disguising its source. Technology can come from wrong source. For instance, Leipzig University's School of Psychology and Psychiatry opened the door to death camps in Hitler's Germany.
And of course, he brings up the psychology and the psychiatry somewhat being responsible for the Holocaust. This is something mentioned in Scientology's Psychiatry and Industry of Death Museum out in California.
Using drugs, these men apparently gave Hitler to the world as their puppet. They tortured, maimed, and slaughtered over 12 million Germans in death camps. At the end of World War II, these extremists formed the World Federation of Mental Health, which enlisted the American Psychiatric Association and the American Medical Association, and established national associations for mental health over the world, cowed news media, smashed any new technology, and became the sole advisors to the U.S. government on mental health, education, and welfare, and the appointers of all health ministers through the civilized world, and through their graduate Pavlov-dominated Russian communist mental health. This source is so wrong that it's destroying man, having already destroyed scores of millions. All statements given here are documented.
Documented where? Because you can say that these are scientific or these are documented. Prove it. So I'm going to have to look up later Leipzig University relating to Hitler, and then these people relating to the World Federation of Mental Health. But then again, he also assumes that all psychiatrists nowadays and psychologists, well, Scientologists now, assume that these people are evil and malicious and only have bad intentions in mind.
Not only taking data from wrong source, but officialdom from it can therefore be sufficiently aberrated as to result in planetary insanity. In a lesser level, taking a report from a known bad hat and acting upon it is the usual reason for errors made in management.
So he's saying that the usual errors in management come from people who are the wrong sources for orders. Claim. Evidence. Please give it.
Contrary facts. When two statements are made on one subject which are contrary to each other, we have contrary facts. Previously, we classified this illogic as a falsehood since one of them must be false, but in doing data analysis, one cannot offhand distinguish which is the false fact, thus it becomes a special outpoint. They made a high of $12,000 that week, and they couldn't pay staff occurring in the same time period gives us one or both as false. We may not know which is true, but we do know they are contrary and can so label it.
I don't see why these have to be contrary, considering the fact that Scientology stiffs their staff anyway when it comes to paying. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a high of $12,000 that week and they still couldn't pay staff. Not because they can't pay staff, but I don't know how much it would cost to keep the lights on for that week or for that month. But I mean, you're not paying staff anything anyways. You're paying them, what, maximum of $50 a week?
In interrogation, this point is so important that anyone giving two contrary facts becomes a prime suspect for further investigation. I am a Swiss citizen, as a statement from someone who's had a German passport found in his baggage would be an example. When two facts are contrary or contradictory, We may not know which is true, but we do know they can't both be true. Issued by the same org, even from two different people in that org, two contradictory facts qualifies as an outpoint. These two will be found useful in analysis.
So we have wrong source, and then an example that I'm going to need to dive into more to see if he's even right. And then contrary facts, and he gives us an example that doesn't necessarily mean it's a contrary fact. Dude, I could have picked anything better for an example than that. I could have said, I have $0 in my bank account. I have $100 in my bank account. Those are contradictory. So there was something I did want to cover, considering Hubbard mentioned that the WFMH was founded by like psychologist extremists from Nazi Germany. So I decided I'd take a little bit of a look at the World Federation of Mental Health website. So there's George Brock Chisholm. He was the first Director General of the World Health Organization, and he was the one that suggested that the WFMH be created. He was a Canadian psychiatrist. There was also Clifford Beers, who founded the National Committee for Mental Hygiene in 1910, and then founded the International Committee for Mental Hygiene in 1919. In 1947, they changed their name to the World Federation of Mental Health, the WFMH. And they added advocacy for mental health beyond that of just raising standards of care for mentally ill patients. Another good name is Dr. John Rawling Rees. He was a British military psychiatrist who became the first president of the WFMH. He and George worked with a man named George Stevenson, who lobbied for passage of the National Mental Health Act in 1946. There was Clarence Hinks, a Canadian physician and mental health advocate. Arthur Ruggles, an American physician and a member of the American Psychiatric Association. Henry Stack Sullivan, who was an American psychiatrist, and an anthropologist named Margaret Mead. The resolution to found the WFMH began with a meeting in the British Ministry of Health building during the London Congress on the 18th of August, 1948, and completed the next night. It was ratified by official Congress delegates on the 21st of August. So where Hubbard gets the WFMH was founded by psychology extremists that came out of Nazi Germany, I don't know where he gets it, but from my perspective, it is, in my own small amount of research, completely wrong. So this is what Hubbard does. He'll take something and he'll link it to evil and psychiatry and all that stuff, despite the fact that it doesn't necessarily have a link to it. So, I mean, but why is this surprising that Hubbard's wrong? So, anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there as a little quick debunk. But if you like the video, click the like button. If you don't, click dislike. I don't really care. I don't see it in any way. Comment with your feedback or questions, good, bad, or sideways, and subscribe to be kept up to date on future content. I'll talk to all of you later. See ya.